Hi, today we're going to go on a writing idea walk from the James K Polk Historical Site in Pineville, North Carolina, all the way to the South Carolina border.
In case you're wondering, I'm on the Little Sugar Creek Greenway, so you can see what this trail is like. This video might inspire you to come up with your own story ideas, or it might help you plan a future idea walk with kids. Kids love coming up with story ideas, and walks get the wiggles out. There is one rule: don't discard ideas for being bad. All ideas count. You can sort through, discard, and refine ideas later. Near the end, I will share some tips for improving your initial ideas. Okay, so here we are at the James K Polk Historic Site, and there are a few log cabins to give us an idea about where James K Polk was born. I'm already thinking of story ideas, a nonfiction book about James K Polk, or a book about his wife, Sarah Polk, or a book about his mom, Jane Polk. It looks like there's a school field trip happening, so I'll try not to get too close to them. But a story about a field trip could go lots of different ways. If you're writing a middle grade or a YA book, it could start around a field trip. If you're writing romance, maybe two single parents meet while chaperoning a field trip. Thinking a book about living in log cabins could be interesting. Or maybe a book about building log cabins and the techniques they used to use. Or maybe there's a time travel book idea involving log cabins. Okay, so this gives a pretty good idea of what the James K Polk Historic Site looks like. Now let's continue on towards the Little Sugar Creek Greenway. I should mention that there's also a small museum on the James K Polk site, but I avoided it today due to the field trip. So now I'm thinking about ideas for books again. I see a trail crossing sign. Could there be a book about signs? Or what if we wanted a bit more whimsy? What would happen if 10 Barbie dolls walked this trail? I'm hearing a lot of birds chirping, so what kinds of books about birds could we write? A book about bird songs? A book about bird nests? A romance book about two people who meet when they try to rescue an injured bird. I'm also seeing a lot of pine trees here. There could be a book about pines. Or a story about a forest fire. Or maybe a mystery. Someone's pet donkey disappears in the pines. I'm going to look around and see if more ideas appear. I'm seeing some bicyclists. All kinds of stories could involve bikes. For romance, two bikers meet on a trail. For crime, a bike bandit is on the loose. For kids, a learn to bike book. Or maybe for chapter books, two friends go biking and one gets injured. Wow, we're already at 21 ideas. If you're following along from home, have you thought of any extra ideas? Maybe you thought of some that I haven't thought of. Okay, let's find some more ideas. I'm seeing grass. That reminds me of Bad Bunny's Super Bowl concert, and the folks dressed up like grass. So here's some more ideas. A book about musicians who have played at the Super Bowl. Or kids getting to see their very first Super Bowl. Or an American football book. Now I see some fun artwork popping up. Maybe there could be a story about a turtle who loves to play. Okay, here there's a fork in the trail. I am going towards Lake Park, South Carolina. Let's get back to finding ideas. I see a bridge. And oh, I see a concrete mixer. A kid's book with a concrete mixer could be fun. As I mentioned before, I try not to worry about bad ideas at this stage. I noticed I had a thought thinking, oh, there are already books about concrete mixers. but I'm not going to let that thought get in the way. I know it's always possible to do extra brainstorming later to make my concrete mixer story original. I just saw someone on a scooter go by. A book about kids learning to ride scooters could be fun too. And here there are young trees. There could be different kinds of stories about planting trees. Could be a nonfiction for kids about planting trees, or a romance book about two people who meet while volunteering to plant trees in a park after a forest fire. Or a poem about baby trees. Now we're under a bridge. Who lives under bridges? The trolls! We could write a book about trolls. Or if you prefer nonfiction, a book about birds that live under bridges. Or a book about bats that live under bridges. Or if you want to write a tragedy, a book about a homeless person living under the bridge. It's a bright sunny day. We could write a poem, an ode to bright sunny days. Or a story about a child enjoying the sunshine. Or an embarrassing sunburn scene. Maybe a middle grade main character gets a strangely patterned sunburn right before school starts. I see a bend in the trail, and that makes me think anything could be hiding behind that bend. Is it a horror story? The spooky clown is waiting to ambush unsuspecting bikers? Or there's a giant beanstalk growing right there, full of sticky red spiders? Or maybe there's a two-headed monster in the middle of the trail. What kind of story would that make? I see someone walking. Now I'm thinking about speed walking, an Olympic sport. Maybe there could be a book about Olympic speed walking. We're coming up on an apartment complex with a playground. Playgrounds make great settings for stories. Maybe a story about puppies on the playground. Or a story about a wealthy child and a poor child who meet and play together on a playground. Since this is an empty playground, maybe it can inspire a horror story. All the kids who used to play here were swallowed up by a giant orange venomous snake with horns. Or maybe there's a YA book that could start with a bored teenager who sits on these swings. There are a lot of bikes here again. Maybe a book about Olympic track cyclists? Or a book about famous road cycling competitions. Or maybe a romance between two BMX freestyle champions. I just saw someone roller skate past us. Maybe a book about roller derbies. Or a book about roller skate birthday parties. Wow, we're already at 50 story ideas. I hope you're able to come up with some of your own exciting story ideas. Have you ever been on a story walk before? These are really productive. So we're walking next to Little Sugar Creek, and here we have a pretty good view of the creek. Maybe there's a story idea. Little critters go for an adventure on a leaf boat. Or maybe a daddy-daughter fishing trip story. Or a mom and son fishing trip story. Or a book about mountain biking. Or what about a giant who rides a bike with giant wheels? I'm seeing some fallen logs. Maybe there could be a story about critters who live in logs. Or maybe there could be a book about a really long and exciting hide-and-seek game that takes place in fallen logs. This is my first time filming with a camera strapped to my chest, so there are some filming goofs. I'll have to do better next time. But there's a story idea here too. Maybe someone is learning how to take videos. Just a few moments ago, I passed a bench that looked like it had been decorated. In fact, each and every one of the benches that I've passed so far have been dedicated to someone, and that means there's a story to each bench. I didn't really film the bench that I'd passed that had been decorated, but there could be a book about honoring a lost loved one with a bench. Or maybe the bench could be the start of a new beginning. Perhaps two widowers out for a walk, stop at a bench, and strike up a friendship. This park is paved and there are some gradual slopes, but I think overall this is a fairly wheelchair accessible walk, which leads me to another book idea. A book about someone in a wheelchair who goes for an adventure on a trail, a lot like this one. What could happen? Maybe the wheelchair catches a sprinkling of magic and starts to fly. Oh look, I see a deer. We could write a non-fiction book about deer. Or we could write a fictional book about a deer who desperately wants to ride a bike down Little Sugar Creek Greenway. Oh, here's another bench. Maybe there could be a book about dancing benches. I can almost picture the bench legs moving to the music. It looks like a telephone pole on my left side, and maybe there could be a book about how telephones were invented. I think the wooded area and deep shade on my left side looks beautiful. Maybe there could be a story about ghosts hiding in the shadows in the woods. Or a story about a thriving community of critters who hide in the woods. Perhaps a story about trees who talk. Or a poem about how beautiful trees are. I see more bikes. Maybe a story about biking adventures with friends. I'm hearing bird songs again. Maybe a book about songbirds in the Carolinas. Maybe a book about giant, oversized birds who hitchhike on bikes. A book about the health benefits of running. Or a book about a very fast runner. Or maybe a book about famous Olympic runners. I'm seeing a trash can. A book about trash collection. And the trash can's lid made me think of hats. Maybe a book about fashionable hats. We're crossing a bridge. Maybe a book about bridges. Or a book about a famous bridge, like the London Bridge. Okay, I see that we're about to come up on another fork in the trail. Today I'm going to go towards the border with South Carolina, so towards Gilroy Drive. It is also possible to go to Lake Park in the other direction. Okay, let's think of more story ideas. I see another bridge in the distance. Now I'm thinking about Bridgerton. Maybe another historical romance book. Or maybe a book about bridge construction techniques. We're at 81 ideas. Can we get to 100 ideas? Looking around makes me think of forest fires and how plants regrow after forest fires. That could be a book. I see another biker. Maybe a book about a bike ride with Dad. Or a bike ride with Mom. Oh, I see a dog. A book about hiking with dogs. Or a book about a really thirsty dog who is heading to a smoothie shop. Coming up, I see a little rest area where several people could gather. Maybe there could be a story about a group exercise class in a public park with some drama. Who is cheating with the instructor? I see a stone retaining wall. Maybe a book about retaining walls. Or maybe a book about stone construction techniques in the Middle Ages. Or maybe a book about the Great Wall of China. That could be interesting. I see more dogs. Maybe a book about a kid who wants a pet dog. Maybe a book about a dog who wants to eat the neighbor's chickens. Maybe about two dogs who become friends. Or a romance book. Two people meet while walking their dogs, and the dogs fall in love and refuse to leave each other, so the people must be together too. That bridge passing through the woods looks so cute. Maybe it could inspire a story. How about a book about unicorns who take care of the bridge? We can also catch glimpses of Little Sugar Creek here. Maybe a book about the animals who live in the creek. Or maybe a book about the Rainbow Bridge and crossing to the other side. I can hear leaf blowers in the distance. Maybe a book about a person who gets so upset about the neighbor's loud leaf blower that they decide to get revenge in a drastic and wacky way. I'm thinking maybe Home Alone vibes. In the distance, I see three friends walking. How about a story about friends who hike together? Or a mystery. Three friends go hiking and disappear. Will they be found? Woohoo! We've made it to 100 ideas and our walk isn't even over yet. I'm going to take a quick break from coming up with new ideas to discuss a few ways to transform the simple ideas we've come up with into something with better story potential. First, I evaluate ideas based on whether or not I think I'd be interested in writing about the topic. So, thinking back on some of the ideas I've had so far, I already know there are some ideas that I don't feel like spending time on. For example, I don't feel like researching the life of James K Polk and writing about him, so I won't pursue this idea further. But I think writing about a cement mixer could be fun for kids. So now I need to dig deeper with questions. Where is the cement mixer going? What is it going to make? How can I make this book different from other books? Asking questions like how, what, when, where, and why can help you expand upon your ideas and make them more interesting. For example, why is a wealthy child at the same playground as an impoverished child? How will the kids change as a result of this encounter? I also love to ask what-if questions. So what if the child who wants a pet dog actually wants 10,000 pet dogs? For nonfiction ideas, you'll also want to refine your idea a bit more. and it may involve having to do some research either online or in libraries or museums, etc. At one point, you may want to write a pitch, which will likely be something along the lines of character wants X but cannot get it because of Y, so they try Z and learn theme. For example, Stacy wants 10,000 dogs, but she cannot because she doesn't have enough space in her studio, so she embarks on a quest to get more space and learns you can't always get what you want, but sometimes you'll get what you need. That pitch could still use some work, but it already gives an idea of the story, and now you can move on to writing or plotting and then writing. Okay, let's think about ideas again. It's getting very hot. Maybe a book about an overheated planet. Maybe a book about Venus, since that planet is unbearably hot. A book about animals who can survive high temperatures. A book about kids who do not want to wear sunscreen. A book about surviving in desert heat. A horror story about people who overheat and turn into running fires. If you're planning on doing this hike in the summer, I would recommend bringing plenty of water. It's at least 5 miles back and forth, 2.5 miles one way. At one point on this walk, I saw geese in the creek. I can't remember which spot, so I'll just stick the footage here. Certainly there's a story about a geese family, or a nonfiction about geese, a book about polite geese from Canada teaching kids about manners, or a rude goose who is stealing lunchboxes. Maybe a book about planting more wildflowers, a book about daring bike tricks, a story about an international bridge, a story about creek monsters, a story about pollution in creeks, a mystery. A man went for a drive and his 4 car wheels were found in the creek. It looks like there's a dead tree over there. Maybe a book about dead trees. Here there's a leaning tree. Maybe a book about the Leaning Tower of Pisa in Italy? There's another bridge here. Maybe a book about burping bridges. That would definitely make kids laugh. I saw yet another bike, but we haven't seen any unicycles yet. What about a unicycle book? Wow, we're at 120 ideas. Can we get to 130? I'm seeing baby trees and grass and weeds. Maybe a book about different kinds of weeds. I'm noticing that there's a white stripe in the middle of this trail. Why are road stripes usually white or yellow? Perhaps there could be a book on the history of road stripes. Here there's another retaining wall. Maybe a DIY how-to book explaining how to build retaining walls. Or perhaps a mysterious biker in a yellow suit knows how to make trees talk, but no one else can figure out how to do this. Here there's another curve in the road. What surprise could be on the other side? Maybe a troop of folks dressed up like spaghetti. I see another trash can. Maybe a book about trash collection in public areas and parks. That's a really nice looking tree. Maybe there could be a silly book with a tree who loves to tell jokes, especially tree puns. I see a biker off to the side, so I'll try not to get too close. Now I remember reading about breakups where one partner leaves the other stranded in the woods. That could make a true crime story. Oh, I'm seeing houses. This is the South Carolina border. So I'll take a moment to show you what you see when you get to the end of this trail and see the South Carolina and North Carolina border marker. So although we've reached the end of the trail, I'm remembering I forgot to go check out the monument showing the original location of James K Polk's house. So I will check it out before going back to the parking lot. If you're coming from the Little Sugar Creek Trail, you'll turn right. And shortly after you turn right, you'll see the stone structure that the Daughters of the American Revolution helped install to mark the original home's placement. We're just 2 ideas shy of 130 ideas, so let's quickly come up with 2 more. 1, maybe a story about this stone monument, and 2, maybe a story about the decision to preserve this historical site. Let me know in the comments how many ideas you came up with and if you found any good ones. Also, if you've got ideas for other cool places to visit on my next writing idea walk, let me know. Thank you! Don't forget to like and subscribe.